Ben just walked up with a candle.
I needed ambiance.
You needed ambiance?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, The Last Jedi.
So long, Jay.
Goodbye. She's left. This week, The Last Jedi. Audience, I need you to know that Jay has left us. Jay introduced the episode, now presenting The Last Jedi, and then she promptly fucking got up and left.
Jay pronounced the episode, goes, cut this out. I gotta go get some milk and cigarettes, and then got up and walked away.
I realized my window was open.
Oh, that's
but no, I went out to get milk and cigarettes and left
noise.
Chris and Ben with the podcast.
I straight up thought she walked away because right before Jay does the hi, welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, I had a mouthful of burrito. So I thought Jay walked away like, I can't ask Ben how his rotation was right now.
The reason I started the episode when I did was because you had a mouthful of burrito. Because again, you are eating on the podcast.
It's tradition. Audience, a little peek behind the screen here. I don't think that there's an episode of this podcast that Ben has not started at least while eating.
It upsets me.
It's upsetting.
We have bare minimum professionalism on this show. It would be nice
why start now?
It would be nice if just the one thing that we respected ourselves and our audience about would be not eating into the mic.
I mean, we're yelling at Ben for eating on the podcast. You and I are dangerously inebriated in one way or another while recording. I think that's a much worse offense at your kind of job.
No, not at all. It's not the same thing.
You put that burrito down while I chug this fireball.
Here's where the line is. You can't hear me drinking. I can hear Ben eating.
Okay, hold on. You just last time you had alcohol, you were like, I was trying to make it so you could hear me open it.
That was for a gag.
Well, welcome to Star Wars and Food Talk.
Welcome to bickering every week forever.
How do we get Guy Fieri on this show? That's my new goal. How do we get Guy Fieri on this show?
Ben, how was your watch?
It was great. I hated every second of it. This movie is long as shit, and I hate every second of it.
Oh, man. Fucking chill,
that
man.
Will go down as history as my absolute favorite reaction to how was your watch in the history of the podcast. That was fucking incredible. Chris, how was your watch?
All good. It's a fine movie in a vacuum.
Yeah. I don't remember my watch. I watched it like Monday because I wanted to get it out of the way because I had a ton of shit to do this week. And I have no memory of watching it. Like, I even opened my notes and there's nothing there. It's like I completely spaced over the entire watch. And I know I watched it because I can remember things that happened around the watch that night, but I don't remember watching it. Like, I can remember the way my night went, like, because of Last Jedi I didn't do this, or because of Last Jedi I had to do this the next morning, so on and so forth. I have no memory. No memory whatsoever of anything in the movie outside of my ability to recognize every frame of this movie because I've watched it so many times.
Star Wars has been the last couple of weeks, and it's funny because we're not exactly in my favorite 2 weeks of this 9-week rotation, but it's been a nice constant. I've had a hectic couple of weeks, so Star Wars has weirdly been a nice constant.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing with this fucking whatever we're doing to ourselves
Visions,
at this point. Where
Visions came out this week.
Yes.
Oh, I haven't watched any of Visions yet.
Oh,
I keep forgetting about that. I keep forgetting about it.
You would have watched it.
No, I keep forgetting about it. I'm not like a big anime guy anyway most of the time, but I'm not in a huge rush. It looks very cool though, and my dad of all people said it apparently is very good, so
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I'll check it out.
I
know a couple of the story synopses sound really interesting, so
I always love, like they did it with The Matrix, they did it with Halo, the anime take on an American franchise or a Western franchise. So I'll check it out at some point if my Disney Plus trauma allows me to. Ben's got to watch every episode because there's a pod race in one of them somewhere.
There is a pod race in one of them. It's not a pod race, but there's an event that takes place at the Boonta Eve Classic.
So go ahead.
Oh God, it's painful
ahead.
now. So
These next couple of weeks are going to be really fun ones because they're going to be long. There's no way they're not going to be long.
The next couple weeks, we only have this and one more left.
Yeah,
Hey.
the next couple weeks, this one and the next one.
Hey, so we're chilling out on the Resistance
God, it
planet.
starts right away.
You're so bleak.
The Ben Ingram
And
start right away.
Everyone's like, time to go. And Poe's like, we're escaping. I gotta go into my X-Wing and do X-Wing things. And so he rolls up to the First Order who just arrived, and they're like, hey, we're gonna blow up your stuff. And Poe's like, wait, can I call Hux? And Hux is like, by the way, we're space fascists. What do you want? And he's like,
do you
That's how they
remember that
answer the
time
phone.
in Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, where Hux goes over the phone? Hey, by the way, we're space fascists.
Well, that's like, when you call a business and they have their whole little, like, hello, so-and-so and so-and-so, Hux just, hello, we're fascists. How can I help you? Empire here.
Empire. You have reached the automated call line of the First Order. Please leave a message.
This scene this week was the first time I've put this together. This scene, if you had told me before this movie came out that this was going to be an SNL skit where like an X-Wing pulls up and does a fucking phone like hold gag to the bridge crew or whatever, I'd be like, all right, that's pretty standard shitty SNL skit writing. That sounds about right. Whatever, that's acceptable. No, it's in a fucking real Star Wars movie.
It feels like a Robot Chicken bit.
It
Yeah.
does.
Like, I mean, it's fucking Oscar Isaac. He's a great actor. Why are we doing this? Like, if it was Pete Davidson, the fake X-Wing, just, like, doing a fucking hold gag to fucking, like, Kenan Thompson, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is a real Star Wars movie.
This was published under Lucasfilm.
It's a Clerks joke. It sounds like
is
a
a
joke
Clerks
that
joke.
somebody would make in Clerks.
Yeah. Absolutely a Clerks joke. I say that with someone who loves Kevin Smith and all of his projects.
Oh, we have professed our love for Kevin Smith vividly.
Like, if this was a gag in, like, a Clerks movie with, like, Jay and Silent Bob or something, fine. No problem with it. But it's in a fucking real Star Wars movie. We're doing whole gags.
So
we're a minute and a half into this movie.
So we're doing hold gags, and and Hux is like, what's this dude doing? And the other guy on the ship's like, I don't fucking know, dude. And Poe's like, hey, by the way, your mom. And Hux is like, you should shoot him. And everyone starts shooting him, but then he goes to infinity and beyond, and fucking goes straight towards the ship, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna shoot your cannons, pew pew pew, and then the cannons just go like, and they explode, and then Hux is like,
That's
hey,
the first sound effect I think we've gotten all rotation somehow.
yeah, we gotten plenty of pew pews.
Okay, other than pews.
He is right. There have been plenty of pews, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
For the record.
For the record,
Many
let the record
pews.
show there have been substantial pews.
In fact, the record will show usually it was paired with a second pew.
Indeed, you gotta have two pews for your sermons. So we're
Me writing that down got you that bad.
No, I my brain just decided things were funny, and
No, we're just
You
broken.
mean a basic human act?
no, it wasn't you writing things down. My brain was just like, hey, laugh.
I am
It was-
concerned about the
was
direction
fucking
of this episode.
ridiculous. So
Falling apart.
Hux rings up the guy on the dreadnought who Poe's fighting, and he's like, hey, maybe you should like try blowing up his ship, his boat, and
Blow up his shit.
Blow up
And,
his shit. Either one of those work.
And the guy on the dreadnought's like, yeah, okay, we'll get right on that. Does someone want to like, send out our TIE fighters or something? So they send out their TIE fighters, and Poe finishes blowing up all the cannons, and he's like, hey, let's drop bombs on it. And Leia's like, that's a bad idea. And Poe's like, but what if I did it anyway? So then they do it anyway. And all the bombers blow up except for the one that Paige is on, and Paige is like, I'm gonna do the thing. So she like presses the button, and the dreadnought explodes, and then they all run and fly off to safety. And Hux is like, well, that went according to plan. And someone's like, hey,
Hey.
hey,
Hey.
Daddy Snoke wants to talk to you. And Hux is like, oh.
I don't like Daddy Snoke.
Is it any worse than any of the other daddy names we've put on this show?
It doesn't have any awesome alliteration to it.
Yeah.
Says Hux is like, oh, cool, I'll talk to him in a minute. And Snoke's like, hey, motherfucker, listen here, you're an asshole.
Why is
And,
Snoke Obama?
Yeah, what's going on with Snoke, man?
We cannot keep doing Obama bits. I will put my fucking foot down.
Hey, Kylo,
The name Obama is banned. Never again. And
Good luck.
no more impressions of him.
Good luck with this crusade, Jay.
We
So
were
then-
good for entire rotations, and all of a
Right.
sudden, the last couple weeks.
And Papa Snoke's just like, hey, by the way, fuck you. And Hux is like, dude, chief, boss, don't worry about it. We
Do you
got it.
remember that time
It's all
in
under control. Don't worry about it.
Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, where Hux, almost like a bit, just starts calling Snoke every title a boss could possibly have, just like in quick succession.
It's like when C-3PO's in Jabba's palace, and he's just making up titles as he's going.
Which I don't think I've talked enough about how that's probably my favorite scene in all of Star Wars is just 3PO making up fucking titles for Jabba.
You enjoy those radio shows more than you enjoy actual Star Wars
The radio
movies.
shows are very good.
Honestly, at this point,
I
probably.
wish they would. That's my goal. My goal is to put together a radio drama for the prequels and the sequel trilogy.
I mean, that'll be when we do the script read.
If I do nothing else in my professional writing career, it needs to be writing the fucking radio dramas for the prequels and the sequel trilogy.
So then, on Octo, simultaneously, Rey's walking over to Luke, and she's like, "Hey, here's your lightsaber." And Luke's like, "Fuck you!" And he just like chucks it over behind his face.
Do you know how many babies this thing killed?
Chastises Rey, like, "Do you know what this was used for,
Rey,
young
if-
lady?"
Ray, if you could see the stats on this fucking particular weapon, if you could see what this thing's done.
And Luke just kind of like charges off, and Rey's like, "Hello, dude, excuse me?" And he's like, "Bye." And he just walks into his little hut, and he like slams the door shut. Now, I was paying attention this rotation. If you actually look at that door, it does have the markings of an X-Wing's wing on it.
No, that's non-canon now. Because JJ was like, fuck whatever happened. Oh, wait, no, that does actually happen, and
Because he puts
you're
the
right.
wing back on.
You're right. You're right.
So
So stupid.
And Rey's like, dude, fucking, you're supposed to be a Jedi, dude, and he's like, just leave me alone.
He's
whoever
supposed to be
you are.
Jedi, dude.
He's supposed to be a Jedi, dude.
Obi-Wan standing over Anakin's charring corpse. You were supposed to be a Jedi, dude.
You were supposed to, like, destroy the Sith. So then, oh no, it begins.
Come on,
So
come
then,
on.
I'm
You've done well
working
so
on-
far, but
I'm
we're
getting
only 8
there.
minutes in.
So then, Rey's like, well, you're gonna train me one way or another, dude. And
Why is Rey Hulk Hogan? Now listen to me, Brother Jack, dude. First of all, you're gonna train me. And then secondly, I'm gonna say some really offensive shit to these small islanders.
Luke's talking to fucking Chewie, and Rey's just in the corner, like, doing, like,
And Rey's like, hey, your sister sent me. Like, she seemed pretty cool. And Luke's just like, go away. Like, leave me the fuck alone. I don't give a shit about my sister.
I don't like that editorialization.
I mean, literally, she's like, Leia sent me, and Luke doesn't say anything. Luke's kind of a dick.
I mean, yeah, but he also failed Leia, so it's less. You know what? I don't know why I'm trying to talk sense in this scene, because you've already bastardized the entire
well, listen,
saga.
when you almost kill your sister's kid, yeah, you're probably feeling a little awkward about it and probably want to go hide away on an island.
That's what I was about
know,
to say. It's kind of like maybe
if
Leia. Ooh, we can't talk to Leia right now.
Yeah, I almost killed Leia's kid. It's probably gonna be a weird conversation. I don't. No, thank you.
Yeah, bad idea.
I've
Bad
cut
idea.
off all contact with people for way less than that.
Rey goes Leia, and then Luke's eyes pop up. They're wide, and he goes, "Who? Shea? No, Leia. Rhea. Oh, that was your name. No, Leia. Fuck."
So then, like, a few minutes later, all of a sudden there's another knock at the door, and Luke's like, "Will you fuck off?" And then all of a sudden the door just like fucking goes flying, and Chewie's like, "Ah, you're a bitch!" And Luke's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here, young mister." And Rey's like, "Well, he said we came here on the Falcon, so haha." And Luke's like, "Wait a minute. If Chewie's here, and you're here, then who's flying the plane?" And Luke realized that Han got murdered to death, and he's like, "Well, shit." Allegedly. Not allegedly. We watched it.
Allegedly, we watched it.
No one's
described
ever
the
died
action
from
last
fall
week.
damage in Star Wars. Now, granted, he was stabbed before he fell.
Mace Windu.
We don't know. We don't know for sure.
Mace is dead. I don't
We
give
don't
a
know
fuck.
for sure.
I hate Star Wars so much.
Darth Maul got cut in half before
Yeah,
he fell in the
sure.
hole, and he
Yeah,
came
sure.
back.
Oh, he's also a Dathomirian dark side user.
Yeah, I hate Star Wars so much.
Mace Windu is the baddest motherfucker in the galaxy.
Darth Maul has 2 fucking hearts, dude.
Who cares?
Maybe Mace Windu does too. You don't know.
I will go full comic book nerd on this.
You don't know how many. You don't know how many
Jay
hearts
wants-
Mace Windu has.
Jay is like so sick of
We don't know for sure how many hearts Mace Windu has.
The only reason you're leaning on this so much is because I'm so miserable that this is a conversation we're having this
Yeah.
rotation.
Yeah.
So Han Solo gets murdered.
Last movie.
and
Yeah, last
it's like,
So
well,
last movie.
I'm still not gonna train you, but now I'm just sad.
I have decided ahead of time for the next 2 episodes I will not correct Ben. It's just whatever happens, happens. And then I'll have notes at the end.
I've never felt so scared now.
I'll
I've
grade
felt
the
so
test
scared.
afterwards.
Pressure's on. Then, panic. So then, Ray's like, well, I'm not leaving you alone until I get trained, and Luke's like, you can't be here a while, lady.
Luke's just like, all right, I'm gonna go do some weird stuff to some Muppets.
New fetish has been unlocked since I arrived here, Ray, and you don't want to see it. But I will
really
show you if you
regret-
follow.
I regret the evolution of this conversation.
I regret the evolution of this movie. Continue.
I regret
So-
the evolution of this podcast.
Then, fuck it. Meanwhile,
What was that sentence start? What was that separate sentence that you?
Kylo Ren's walking into Snoke's chamber, and Snoke's like, "Good job, Hux," and he gives him a little pat on the back. I did the motion
you first.
of slapping
motion you
someone
did was-
upside the head.
No, it's like Hux walked in and Snoke started like dapping him up. Is what you first did. Like what? What are we doing here, man?
He's like, good job. You know, you tracked him through hyperspace. Good work, buddy. Gold star for you. And Kylo Ren rolls up, and Snoke's like, yep, that's why I keep that stupid bitch around. Anyway,
Do you remember that time?
I mean,
in
that's
Star
pretty
Wars
much what he
Episode 8,
says.
The
That's
Last
what it-
Jedi, where Snoke looks at Kylo as Hux leaves the room. Is like, yeah, that's why I keep that stupid bitch around.
and
But in Andrew Serkis voice, which is way better than mine.
does it in the Gollum voice.
No.
Oh, what could have been?
And Kylo Ren's like, I'm here, and Snoke's like, you kind of suck, dude. And Kylo's like, what do you mean? And Snoke's like, well, you felt sad about killing your dad.
How dare you?
Strike number
How dare
one.
you?
Some
Strike
random
number one.
Strike number 1.
some random person just waltzes onto your base and like whoops your ass. Strike number 2. And you still think you're like Darth Vader Jr. because you're wearing a stupid fucking helmet for no reason.
Snoke
is my
does
favorite
roast the
scene
shit
all-
out.
This is my favorite scene all rotation. This is so good.
It's the vicious dunking of
roast-
Kylo Ren.
It's a fucking Comedy Central special. It's the roast of Kylo Ren.
Oh,
Snoke's
I'd love
just
to
like-
see the roast of Kylo Ren.
Snoke's just like, and next up, David Hasselhoff.
And
And next up, Trento Duava.
Kylo Ren's like goes to stand up because he was kneeling, and he's like, "Hey man, that wasn't so cool." And then Snoke fucking zaps him.
Shut up, bitch.
He's like, "Go, fucking kill the good guys." And
He zaps
Kylo
him
Ren,
with,
like,
as we learn in the next movie, the pure physical manifestation of the dark side.
The lightning of pure willpower.
and Kylo Ren's walking away, and he's like, "Well, fuck this helmet," and then he just like beats up an elevator with it.
You ever been so mad that you have to beat up an elevator with a helmet?
And
Listen, I have a pacemaker defibrillator, and sometimes old elevators make me very uncomfortable because of it, because of magnets. I have wanted to beat up an elevator in the past.
understandable. And he's like, "All right, I'm out of here." And oh god, there's 3 plot threads.
I'm not helping you.
Meanwhile,
Oh, we're just gonna ride this one out.
Yeah, we're just gonna.
so
You'll figure it out eventually.
the resistance like pops out of hyperspace, and they're like, "Hey, we did it!" And then they look in the rear view mirror of their space boat, and they're like, "Ah, fuck."
Move the dice. Yeah, that fuzzy dice just hanging there. Like, oh shit! Is that the first order?
Move your head. I gotta look out the back.
And fucking Finn's like, I'm in a fucking plastic bag of water, and he fucking waddles into the hangar, and Poe's like, dude, you gotta like go. This isn't a good look, dude. You gotta go like take care of this. And then Finn gets dressed, and he's all like looking super, and he's like, so where's he asks Poe, where is Rey, when Poe hasn't met Rey yet and won't meet Rey until like the last literal 5 minutes of this movie.
They met in passing.
Oh yeah, but they haven't like met. They didn't know each
Yeah,
other's
they haven't
names
like
or
met,
anything.
but they were in the same room for about 5 minutes.
So then Finn's hanging out on the bridge, and Poe's there, and he's like, so how are we gonna get Rey? And Leia's like, don't worry, I've got a bracelet, and
I'm not
Rey,
afraid to use it.
and Rey has the matching BFF bracelet, and that's the thing. That's
We
how
went to
she's
a
gonna
rave
get here.
together. We've held on to it ever since.
And then Kylo Ren's like, I'm gonna go shoot the good guys in my space boat. So he's flying his space boat, and he's got two buddies with space boats behind him. And
You make this sound very chipper when it is in fact very foreboding and depressing.
It's foreboding?
Because he's about to shoot his fucking mother's ship out of the sky.
Jay, there's only 3 boats, not 4 boats.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know
He said
what's going on anymore.
foreboding.
I'm gonna kill you.
Foreboding.
I quit. I'm done with the show. I can't do it. Can't do it
Oh.
anymore. Can't do it anymore.
So,
I just.
So we were 22 minutes into this
yeah,
movie.
he swoops in, and he's like, haha, no boats for you, and he just throws missiles into their hangar, and they're all like, oh no, and then he's like, now I gotta blow up my mom, and he goes to the area where he could see the bridge, and he's like, I'm gonna do it, god damn it, and then he doesn't do it, and then the other space boats are like, all right,
Strike 3.
don't worry, dude, we got you, and then they blow up the bridge, and Leia's like, oh no, I'm dead. And Kylo Ren goes back to the main space boat, and then meanwhile,
I will not correct you.
Nah, don't worry, I got it. Meanwhile,
No, you don't.
yeah, I do. Meanwhile, Rey's like chilling out, and Luke's like, I'm not training you, and she's like, you're a dirty liar. And Luke goes, and he drinks some milk from some alien titties, and
I would love to say take a second pass, but it's what happens.
My new favorite descriptor. That's it.
and he catches a fish with a big stick, and
Which I would like to point
You
out again.
explain all of this way, it's a much better movie.
It's a good movie.
No, it's still a much better movie when you explain it like this.
Yeah. But it's only pointing out the greatness of the movie.
and then
Yeah.
he
It's
goes
at least as funny as some of the stupid gags in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
and he goes, and it's the nighttime, and then they wake up in the morning, and Rey's like, hey, You gonna train me? And he's
He
like,
just did the D&D
nope.
night turns to day shit so hard. Except somehow he
just really-
fucked it up.
really hung up on how casually Ben dropped. It's the daytime. Where
You know, the daytime.
the only the daytime. And Rey's like, whoa, dude, there's a tree over there. And she goes over to the tree, and Luke's like, fucking excuse me? So she's like, whoa, there's books in here. How awesome.
He's like,
And-
this is my vacation house asshole. Why did none of you know how to use a door?
And Luke's like, why are you here? And Rey's like, excuse me, young mister, I've been here telling you I want to be a Jedi, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, who are you? You look cool. Like, fuck you, dude. And Luke's like,
I can't tell if
I don't know what's going on.
you are having Rey be purposely aggressive, or if you have decided to be aggressive towards the plot of this movie.
Jay, just let it happen. and then Luke's like, all right, I'm gonna teach you 3 things, and then you're gonna realize that the Jedi were a bunch of bitches. That's why the Jedi aren't allowed to be Jedi anymore. I took away their Jedi license.
I forgot what the exact wording was, but you said, like, I'm gonna teach you 3 things, and I immediately thought of the fucking, like, monologue from Dodgeball. What is it? Dodge.
Dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
Yeah,
ball.
you can-
Master Skywalker, what does this have to do with the Force?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a blaster bolt.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a lightsaber.
Just Luke Skywalker throwing wrenches at Rey.
It doesn't work, Master Skywalker. He leans back and avoids a dodgeball Matrix style.
Then oh shit. And then earlier in the movie, Rey's just vibing, and she's like, do. I'm Rey, and then all of a sudden, like,
Do you remember that
like-
time in Star Wars episode The Last Jedi where Rey is just like hanging out like on a cliff face and she just goes, do, I'm Rey.
she's just, you know,
Just in case you
vibing,
forgot.
and all of a sudden,
I
like,
would describe that as vibing.
like she hears just like a random bass noise, and all of a sudden the movie jumps to Kylo Ren, and he hears a random bass noise, and they're like, oh, hey, it's the other person. And then the Kylo Ren's like, hey, you run into Uncle Luke yet? And she's like, yep, fuck you. And it cuts to, and then we're in the now times.
You know, this would have been a
I
great
mean,
time.
we did just go to the now times, I
This
will say
would-
that.
This would have been a great time for Kylo to just be like, you know, he tried to kill me, right? Like as a kid. No, did Luke tell you that?
To get all his angst out then.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
He wants to
Better
be
just
mysterious.
make vague hints and
Yeah.
yeah.
Kylo Ren is
almost
the
like they're in a
bad
movie.
guy at the table. He's the RPG player who's like, oh, my rogue has a very dark past. You
That's
find
accurate.
him at the inn brooding in a corner. Then yeah, it looks like I'll teach you 3 things, and then you too can say the Jedi were bitches.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Hold on.
Hi, I'm Lukey May. And I'm here to sell you the idea of the Jedi being the shits.
And Rey's like, okay. Then she goes to, you know, vibe down at the Falcon. And all of a sudden she hears a random bass noise. And Kylo Ren's hearing a random bass noise. And I'm going so far off script, it's not even funny. And Kylo Ren's like, you're not doing this. And Rey's like, you know, you're a dick. And he's like, nah, you're not strong enough to do this. You're just. And Rey's like, what the fuck do you want, dude? And Kylo's like, Kylo's like,
Are you realizing how much you have made me fucked up so far?
Is Ben
in
okay?
Describing this plot?
Ben having an emergency?
Ben
I
is
may have-
realizing how far off he is.
I may have painted myself into a corner here.
Would you like me to tell you how far off you have been the last 5 minutes?
Half of me says yes, half of me says absolutely not.
I'll do it, just to expedite this process. First of all, you skipped Leia being vacuumed into space, and
Nah, we were gonna get back to that.
we never did.
Yeah, she's gonna force pull her away. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the same scene, so technically you
No,
jump past it. No, it's the same scene. You jumped ahead to the first Kylo race scene by specifically describing it as rewinding. That happens before the, I believe, first lesson. So, like, it happens as a transitionary period into that. And then you just,
So
right after
meanwhile-
describing that, jumped ahead to after the 3 lessons to talk about one of the most integral parts of the movie.
No, because there were three visions.
Yeah, and
Oh, so I
that
remember-
one is the one that happens just before, like, everything goes to shit.
So, meanwhile, Leia's just floating in space, as you do when you get blown up, and she fucking she like rips off her dress, and there's a Superman S below it in like a Superman suit, and she like flies back to the ship, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" So then they open the door and they put her on life support because she's like fucking dying because she was in the vacuum of fucking space.
So much so that she hallucinated that she had a Superman costume.
I just put you on rails.
I know,
You're
but
lost again?
no, I'm not lost. I'm just wondering how I'm gonna make this work. So then, meanwhile, all the race stuff happens. No, not meanwhile.
And not all the race
No,
stuff.
well, no, it is meanwhile, but not the race stuff. So meanwhile, Finn's like, "Oh hey, I found the tracker whajamadoober BFF bracelet," and he's like, 5-0, time to go. He grabs a backpack and he's like running over to the escape pods and puts the backpack on the floor and he presses the open button, and Rose, who's mourning her sister's death, is like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on over there." So she gets up and walks over, and she's like, "Hey, you're that like cool guy," and Finn's like, "Yep, now shoo." And she's like, "Wait, but no, you're cool." And she's like, "I had to stun like fucking 23 people today. It was less than that, but I'm going with that."
23 is very good.
And he's like, "Oh, that sucks. What were they doing?" And she was like, "Getting in escape pods." And she looks over and she sees the bag that somehow teleported from the floor into the chair of the escape pod. And she's like, So what you doing, buddy?" He's like, "No, nothing suspicious." She's like, "Not like, running away like a fucking bitch." And he's like, "No, I would never." And she fucking zaps the shit out of him.
Very liberal use of the word bitch in this
Yeah,
movie as an insult.
I was about to say, I appreciate that Ryan took the approach of trying to, like, make everyone kind of, like, normalize the use of the word bitch in this movie. It really is another, like, expect the unexpected moment.
Yeah. So in a very Jesse Pinkman kind of way, just bitch is used frequently.
Then Rose like picks him up and puts him on a shopping cart, and she's dragging him away.
Just physically hets him up.
Just like
and puts
over
him
her
down.
head.
Yeah.
Gorilla presses.
She gives
fucking
him a
thing.
burning hammer.
I mean, it's not ridiculously far off. I'm
That
impressed
one's
that
for
it's
you,
not.
Chris, because that's the only wrestling terminology I've absorbed through this so far.
Oh, Ben just made a burning hammer joke. My life is complete. Fuck.
Oh no, I have to admit. Oh,
Oh God, I get a new burning hammer edit.
I hate you both
Thank
so
you,
much.
podcast gods.
You just got a new Burning Hammer edit. God damn it!
So, Finn's like, "What the fuck did you do to me? I can't move." And she's like, "You're a bitch." And he's like, "Okay, but like, listen, I got a friend, and if she gets here when the bad guys are here, it's gonna be bad news bears for everyone." And she's like, "Yeah,
Remember
well,
that time?
you should have thought of that before you were a little bitch." And
Like I said, liberal use of the word bitch. Way to go, Ryan Johnson. Really.
she's
Also,
like,
doing not only a hold gag, but using the term bad news bear.
I mean, he was really trying to set like a 1970s feel to it.
and she's like, "Yeah, well, we'll just run away at light speed." And Finn's like, "Oh yeah? Well, they could track us through light speed. Ha ha." And she's like, "Hold on. Wait, that's pretty bad." And Finn's like, "Yeah."
True, it's impossible.
And
Come on.
That one
Come
just snuck out.
on.
That one just snuck out of me. That wasn't even into the mic. That was just
I still heard it.
thing that happened.
And it will be made louder on the final copy. You have to
Sorry.
live with that.
Sorry, audience. You deserve better than this.
you should expect more from me.
I mean, you shouldn't at this point, but you still deserve better.
So then, they're like, "Well, shit. They can only track us from the big boy ship, so we should go disable the tracker on that space boat." And Finn's like, "That's a great idea. Let's go talk to Poe." Meanwhile, Poe's in a meeting, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, since Leia's, a little out of commission, we gotta get a new general. So obviously it's gonna be, drum roll please, not Poe. Fuck you." They're like, "It's Admiral Hondo." And Poe's like, "Oh, I hate everything about this." Then Poe's like, "So what's the plan here, boss?" And she's like, "No." And then
That's a weird way to answer that question.
Yeah. It was a bold decision.
Ryan made a lot of bold decisions when it came to the script.
Then Ray and Finn go up to Poe, and they're like, "Hey, we got this like really good plan that definitely can't fail at all. Let's go call up Maz, who's probably doing something much cooler than the rest of this movie." And they call up Maz, and she's in the middle of a blaster fight, which is much cooler than the rest of this movie. And she's like, "Sorry, can't help you. Go to a casino and look for some random fucking dude." And they're like, "But like, please?" And she's like, "Nope, you got to do it."
Listen, my workers are rebelling. My capitalistic tavern reign has finally fallen. I need you all to handle this your fucking selves. I gotta kill a union.
Yeah, Maz
Which
is
is
in the middle
actually
of some
pretty
major-
much what happened.
Yeah, Maz is in the middle of some major union busting, and instead, sends them off to the casino.
Come on, I love
She's
Maz.
cracking
Do
down
not
on
turn
basic
her into
human
a
rights at
capitalist
all.
pig.
Yeah, she sends them to find a guy who apparently just lives in the casino jail.
No, that's not who they.
No, they
she
don't go
sent them
looking for JD.
Oh no,
or DJ.
He just is there.
Yeah.
So then Finn and Rose are like, "All right, let's go do the thing." So they get on a space boat and they go into hyperspace, and it's been too long since I said it. Meanwhile, Ray.
In like 5 minutes.
So Ray's like doing the training thing, and Luke's like, "So hear me out. We're gonna go into this cave. go on this ledge. You're gonna like sit there and you gotta meditate a little bit. She's like, all right, I'm sitting. And he's like, all right, reach out. And she puts her hand out, and Luke's like, you're a dummy. And he slaps her hand with a reed. And she's like, oh, you meant like with my soul. And he was like, you think?
I meant reach out with your soul.
So then she does that, and she's like, well, there's some dark shit here. And Luke's like, you didn't even you just went straight to the evil. And she's like, yeah, kind of did. I don't know if I want to do this, man. And she's like, but you weren't there, because you're like a little bitch. And he's like, no. And Ray's like, oh, well, have fun. And training's over for the day, and she like ends up going to investigate the little like the evil spot, and she finds herself at an infinite regress, and she has a panic attack, understandably so.
I hate when that happens.
She's like, I want to see my parents, and it's just her, and she's like, well, this is disappointing at best. And she, oh no, I'm getting an F.
Every time you hear Ben hesitate, it's because I'm writing something down. Keep in mind, I haven't written down that much since the last time, but still.
You just hate when you find yourself staring into an infinite.
Also, before we continue, I have to make note of something. I thought I just had a fucking stroke. We were sitting here. We're sitting here, and all of a sudden I hear R2-D2. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Am I ascending? What is wrong with me? My door is cracked, and the fucking TNT Star Wars marathon is on downstairs. But for a minute there, I was not okay.
I love how much like airtime the TNT Star Wars marathon gets on our podcast.
It was only a matter of time.
We bring it up so much.
I thought I was having a stroke. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? It's in my head.
Chris has been making very quiet, pitch perfect R2-D2 noises the whole time in the background.
God, I need to start figuring out how to do that and throwing my voice.
No. And Ray's like, oh, that sucked, and then she like returns to reality, and then she's chilling at the Millennium Falcon, and Kylo Ren's like, hey, by the way, Luke's a dick. She's like,
this is impressive.
God. She's like, yeah, kinda. And he's like, yep, did he tell you what happened? And she's like, nope, you're a dick. And he's like, okay, don't say I didn't warn you. And also, he was shirtless. That also happened.
Yes, I just did Foley. I just did fucking Foley on the podcast.
Meanwhile, no, I see Jay just disappear.
This is impressive.
Nah, don't worry about it. So then Finn and Rose are strolling
Ooh, this has been a ride.
on over to the casino planet, and they just like crash land on the beach. So they're moseying on over, and they just crash onto the beach with their space boat. And some rich fuck is just like, hey, by the way, casino security.
Listen, Paul Blart Mall Cop is fucking after you right now. He is moseying at about a 0.5 miles per hour after you right now. You have about 45 minutes.
He is chasing you down with a Segway. Then he's like, hey, they aren't allowed to do that. And security's like, all right, we're on it, dude. Just like, fucking whatever. And they're running around and they're like, hey, look, it's the security guy, or the hacker guy, and rich dude's like, yep, take them away, officer. They parked illegally, and they get thrown in fucking jail. And then they're very loudly talking about how they're gonna hack into the First Order system, and then everyone's favorite character is just like, hey guys, I'm trying to like fucking sleep over here, but like I could do the thing. And they're like,
everybody
"Excuse me?"
loves DJ.
And he's like, yeah, I can do it. Just like fucking, I got it. And they're like, nah, we're good. So then he just like casually strolls out of jail, and they're like, wait a minute.
Because, like, I think he just lives there. Like, that's just
Yeah.
his house. He just comes and goes as he pleases.
So then he just like kind of runs into BB-8. He's like, hey, you're my friend now. And BB-8's like, okay. And they're like, well, we gotta get the fuck out of here. So then they run over to the giant fathier things that were racing around in a circle earlier. They're like, hey, we're gonna set you guys free, and we're gonna go do space hero stuff. And they're like, okay, cool, that sounds like a plan. Let's do it. So then they hop on the one, and they just go fucking running, and campus security's chasing them down in their space bikes.
It would be a better movie if it was just 17 Paul Blart Mall cops chasing the Fathiers down. Oh god, why did I say that out loud?
Yes.
What have I done? What have I done?
What have I done? And they make it to the edge of a cliff, and they're like, well,
Can't
fuck.
drink while we record. I always regret it later.
They're like, well, fuck. Can't run anywhere now. And all of a sudden, fucking DJ shows up, and he's like, hey, yo, I got a space boat.
Yo.
Let's get out of here.
Hey yo. Hey yo.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
You gotta stop doing Scott Hall.
Shiv Ramon.
So they get on the space boat, and they fly off into the sunset. Just kidding, it's already nighttime. Meanwhile, on the Resistance boat, everyone's like, so we got a plan? And Holdo's like, yep. And everyone's like, what is it? And Holdo's like, I don't know. So then Poe's like, I'm going to the bridge. So Poe goes to the bridge, and he's like, you're fueling up the escape ships that are like super vulnerable to being breathed on funny. And he's like, that's the terrible idea. I should commit a mutiny. So then she's like, yep, send him to the brig. And they do, but they don't. And then and then Poe's like, yep, so guys, pilot buddies, listen, here's the plan. We're gonna commit a mutiny and put me in charge, and everything's gonna go fine. And for some reason, everyone else thought this was a good idea too. So they commit a mutiny.
I mean, in their position, I would also think this was a good idea.
Fair. So they commit a mutiny, and Poe's like, don't worry, we got 2 random people going on the Snoke's ship eventually to disable the tracker. And everyone's like, oh boy. Jay, don't you say
Meanwhile.
anything. Don't you,
I'm not saying anything, but I do have notes.
So
I'm just
Second.
waiting to see where you go. You could start describing the dinner scene right now. I have no idea where you're going.
I don't either. That's the glory of this project. So they're
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Mhm.
Poe goes up to the bridge and he's like, "Hey, C-3PO, shut the fuck up." And he starts pressing buttons on the fucking console thing, like he knows what he's doing. And then he like locks down the door because he looks on the security cameras, and Holdo's like, "Hey, what if I just wasn't held at gunpoint anymore?" And she like kicks a smoke thing, and smoke goes everywhere, and she's like, "Haha, freedom." Meanwhile, Rey's on Luke's planet, and she's vibing.
Dear God. Dear God. We're not nearly far enough into this movie yet.
No, we're
No,
not.
we got it.
Well,
So
basically, we're at like 3 different timestamps right now, which is impressive.
then Rey's like, "Hey, I'm doing the thing," and she smuggles the books to absolutely no one's idea, and she's like, "Hey, Luke, you tried to murder a child," and Luke's like, "He was not a children," and Rey's like,
Oh, but you get that in? Okay.
Looks like, listen, he wasn't a full children.
and
Children adjacent.
Rey's like, "Yeah, but you're a dick," and Luke's like, "Listen, I only briefly wanted to murder the children.
Oh my God.
I come from a long line of child murderers, I will have you know." Said Rey like clubs him over the fucking head, and
What movie did you watch?
Rey like starts like beating him up.
Yeah, she pistol whips him a couple of times. Throws him in
Yeah,
the
just
back of
like
the
out
truck.
of nowhere with seemingly no like.
Yeah.
Just like all of
She
a sudden,
beat-
just like
you
it's
don't remember-
whack.
You don't remember that part of the movie where Rey beats up Luke Skywalker and throws him in the trunk of the Cutlass Sierra?
You just want more Cutlass Sierra edits.
Said Luke's like, "Oh, dude, that wasn't cool," and Rey's like, "You're the reason he's fucked up," and he's like, "Yeah, kinda. I feel bad about it." And Rey's like, "Well, I'm gonna go save the day." So she gets on the Millennium Falcon, and I totally skipped our Rey.
Oh,
our
you
Rainbow
skipped.
scene.
I mean,
and-
you skipped some stuff. You skipped
Nah,
a
don't
significant
worry
amount
about
of things.
Don't worry about it.
We should
Don't
just move past.
don't
Not only have you
don't
skipped a bunch of
worry.
things, you've also
Nah.
gotten plot points wrong.
It's under control. So
It is.
we
think
get on
anything
the
about
Millennium
this is under
Falcon,
control.
and-
Everything
and
about this is totally
she's
right
like,
in every way.
"Hey, Chewie, just like, drop me off at Kylo Ren's space boat. It'll be fine."
Wow.
And Chewie's
Just drop me.
like, "All right." And meanwhile,
Mother of God.
I can't tell if I'm impressed or disgusted.
Both?
That's
I
you know what?
watched-
Yeah,
you want me to make it better? I watched this.
I need
movie
more
today.
alcohol.
I watched this today.
Come on, dude. Because it's not. I'll talk about it at
don't
the end
worry
because
about
because not
Don't-
only do we have to talk about this at the end, oh, never mind. We don't have weird welcome. You have me so fucked up right now.
So
What
meanwhile,
the fuck was that shimmy
I
of
was
excitement at the
dancing.
words? You
I'm
have me fucked up right now.
I'm just vibing, all right. So meanwhile,
What is it with you and vibing today? Is that your word of the day? What's going on?
This entire rotation.
I'm just,
Why is Rey vibing so much?
I'm just living, dude. Life is a highway.
Oh my God.
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So we're so Finn and Rose are like, "So you could get us
onto the space boat to disable the thing, right? And DJ's like, yeah, sure, I got you, but I need your necklace. So she gives him the necklace, and they show up on Snoke's space boat, and they're sneaking around, and they go to disable the thingy, but then, oh no,
They go to disable the
bunch,
thingy.
bunch of stormtroopers. Oh no! Ah! So then they get taken prisoner, and they're like, haha, you're prisoners. Fuck.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Jay, you shush. Meanwhile, Holdo is, it's like, hey, I'm also not a
Right.
prisoner now, and Leia's like, I'm getting on that bridge because I'm conscious now. So she like kicks open the door, and fucking Poe's like, Leia, you're here to save the day, and Leia fucking stuns the shit out of him, and then Jay pours more fireball for herself.
I'm out of my fireball.
And
Holy shit, you have a lot of fireball.
Yeah.
That's too much.
son, while Poe is stunned, they like load everyone onto transports, and they skedoodle right on out of there. And Holdo stays behind. And then, meanwhile, Rey is rolling up to Kylo Ren's fucking space boat, and he's like, welcome. It's time for you to meet my best friend of all time, Supreme Leader Snoke. Yay. And Snoke's like,
He
hey.
groomed me from a young age to do some really terrible things.
Snoke's like, hello, I'm the bad guy.
I don't love the way
Nice
that
to
was
meet
worded.
you.
Do you remember the time in Star Wars Episode 8, The Last of the Jedi, where Snoke's just like, hey, I'm the bad guy. Nice to meet ya.
Then,
Ryan did make a lot of bold choices in retrospect.
and Rey's like, hey,
It's definitely Ryan making bold decisions.
yeah, I preface, this is all Ryan Johnson.
This is all in the original script.
This is all
It's
the
all
actual
Ryan
movie.
Johnson.
I'm
I don't know how
reading.
long it's been since you, the audience, have seen The Last Jedi. This is all what actually happened.
We saw it this week, and it was this.
Yeah, this is the real movie.
Rey's like, well, I'm gonna win. And Kylo's like, hey, so do I get that promotion yet? Or what, Mr. the Supreme Leader?
What is he? Is he going for the assistant to the Supreme Leader?
So then Snoke's like, I'm gonna torture you to find out where Luke is, and then I'm gonna murder you to death, Rey. And she's like, good luck.
Do you remember?
And then he puts her in extreme pain.
Remember that time in Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, where he says, I'm gonna murder you to death, and then he puts her in extreme pain?
Pain.
Terrible pain. Suffering, I feel. In me.
They didn't
Right
even
now.
ask any questions.
It's not a great way to begin when you're trying to get information out of somebody. Is, hey, just so you know, no matter what you tell me, I'm gonna kill you anyway.
So then he like absorbs the information into his face, and he's like, aha, I know where Luke is. Now Kylo Ren, do the murder thing. And Kylo Ren's like, oh, okay. So then he like fucking does some Force shenanigans and actually kills Snoke. And
Force
Snoke's like,
shenanigans is
oh,
Which is-
how unexpected.
I
Force
would
Shit.
say it's a very good kill for a Star Wars movie. It's just-
And
It's something different, you know. It's outside
was-
the box. I
It
appreciated
was
it.
fascinating in the theater because it was like a hush, a scream, and then like 70 different people going, well, what happens from now? And then them just like putting that thought out of their mind. It was a great theater experience, I'll say that.
and
It's a cool scene too.
they
yeah.
they murder the Praetorian guards, and they're all like, "Oh no, we're dead." By the way, there were Praetorian guards there, and they were the thing.
If you want to talk about all the stuff you missed, that's the least of your worries.
Shh, don't worry about it. I'm in the home stretch. So then,
Are you?
yeah.
Are you in the
So
home stretch?
Snoke tells Rey before he dies. He goes, "Hey, by the way, I'm gonna murder your friends." So then they start murdering their friends because also meanwhile, fucking DJ's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm gonna sell out the two people I was with so I can escape," and then that happens. And Phasma's like, "We're gonna execute the good guys." And then right as they're about to do that, meanwhile,
Do you remember when Captain Phasma said we're gonna execute the good guys?
so then Commander General Admiral Holdo.
Commander
like-
General Admiral Holdo was
a lot of-
maybe a hat on top of a hat on top of a hat, Ryan. I'm just saying.
So then she's like, "Oh no, they're killing my friends. I should make them stop it." So she rams Snoke's ship with their capital ship at light speed. And while that was before that happened, Poe woke up and he was like, "Oh nope," and Leia was like, "You see, you can't win them all, champ."
This movie is becoming a chronological nightmare, much in the same way of a Guy Ritchie movie.
So
And
then,
that
It's
whatever you're trying to
really
hold,
just.
whatever you keep holding up.
I
is
know,
completely
it's
blank
not
because
allowing
the
it to
yeah.
see because of this background, but it's a full page.
don't worry about it.
Don't
Oh, I will
worry
worry about it
Don't
later.
son.
Don't me. We're gonna talk about this.
I know, but I got to get through this at some point.
Yeah, you do. You
Please.
really do.
So then Rey and Kylo are like, "Well, I want the lightsaber," and Kylo's like, "No, but I want the lightsaber." So they both force pull it, and it explodes.
Yeah,
And then
I guess.
While
While
Kylo's unconscious, she runs away with the lightsaber, and she escapes. And then, meanwhile,
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
it sounds like
it's
he's
a
in
little
there.
Please
both.
run a little faster.
So then they're about to execute Finn and Rose, and then the Admiral Holdo thing happens simultaneously to that, and everyone explodes, and Finn and Rose are like, "Okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here." So then Finn throws Phasma into space, and then BB-8 hijacks an AT-ST, and they get on a ship, and they fly away, and then
There's a lot of picking
the rest-
people up and throwing them
Yeah.
somewhere in the sequel trilogy, I'm realizing.
Ryan Johnson really wanted to pay tribute to the burning hammer of the original trilogy and just run with it.
So then the rest of the Resistance makes it onto the planet that they were planning to escape to, but they didn't tell anyone they were planning to escape to it. And then they're like, "Oh, there's a base here. We're gonna like shut the giant door and just hide in here, and it'll be fine." And then we get the fourth Death Star incarnation, and
The laser, the tiny laser.
yeah,
Death
the
Star.
miniaturized Death Star
Don't-
tech, because we needed another Death Star.
Why did they even? It's such a dumb
Yeah,
line.
what's the terrible name they have for this dumb plot device?
They didn't name it. They just said it's made out of Death Star technology, and it's like, why would you say that? The
No,
stakes
it
are
was
already
something
high. You don't
stupid.
need that.
Something battering ram.
That's
Don't
what. Yeah,
fucking
something.
look it up right now. I
There's
swear
some
to
sort
God.
of RAM. It's some sort of RAM, and it's just a dumb name.
So we're vibing on Crate, and
Fine.
Jesus Christ.
okay, listen, I'm under pressure. So
Yes, you
we're
are.
chilling out,
Lo-fi
Crate,
beats to fight a
and-
rebellion 2, just vibing on.
and Finn and Rose are like, they're coming in hot, and the door's closing, and they just barely like make it through the door, and everyone's like shooting at the ship because they don't know it's the good guys, and Finn and Rose are like, "Wait, it's us, don't worry about it." So then everyone's like, "Oh, you're alive, good."
Cutlass Sierra.
And so on the planet, there's a bunch of these little like ice foxes, and there's like a bunch of turrets outside. So everyone goes outside, and they're like, all right, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna like recreate Hoth, and then there's these
You can
little
tell he's under pressure.
Do you remember when Finn was just running through the halls going, "Do you remember
We're gonna
Hoth?
recreate-
We're gonna do Hoth.
We're gonna do a Hoth.
We're gonna do a
So
Hoth.
then-
and all
This would be
gonna love it.
great.
It'll really cushion the blow of killing Luke
There's-
Skywalker."
There's these little speeder things, and they're getting on those, and they're like, we gotta blow up the little Death Star, and eventually they're like, yep, nope, this isn't gonna work. We gotta get the fuck out of here. So then they're like, all right, let's do it. And Finn's
I
like,
can
nope,
see him panicking.
nope. Finn's like,
Dennis
nope,
in
I'm gonna
full
do it.
panic.
I'm gonna do it. And Rose is like, no, you're not. So she crashes the fuck into him. And she's like, oh, good, you're alive. And Finn's like, that was really stupid. And she was like, no, it's not. You're dumb. And then she kisses him. And then he picks her up and carries her over to the
Burning
base.
hammers are so
as-
fucking hot.
As the
No.
battering ram explodes the door, he's like, I need a medic.
Strong.
And everyone's
heroic.
like, but dude, did you not see like Luke motherfucking Skywalker's out there now? And
No,
he's like,
because you haven't mentioned
oh,
him
shit.
arriving.
by the way, Luke motherfucking Skywalker
Yeah.
rolls up like
Just rolls
nothing.
up.
And then
That's the other one. That's one of the one we haven't pointed out
So
yet
then-
of the Ben-isms is rolls up. Rolls
Rolls up
up
is
is
pretty
used
good.
incredibly liberal.
Yeah, rolls up is really good.
so then Kylo is like, hey, I want
no,
every
that's good,
single
it's
fucking
good.
person to shoot at him. But right before that, the Millennium Falcon showed up, and Rey and Chewie were in it, and they take all the TIE fighters and just put them somewhere else.
Oh my god.
So Rey, so Luke's there, and Kylo Ren's like, everybody, we're gonna do a group effort. We're gonna just all shoot at him, same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! And then everyone shoots at him, and Hux is like, dude, chill the fuck out. And then Kylo Ren fucking force pushes him against the wall, and then he looks out and he's like, well, fucking Uncle Louis is still there. So then he's like, I'm gonna go
Ooh.
fight him
What
on my
the
own.
Louis.
fuck is going on?
So then Kylo Ren goes down and he's like, hey, I fucking hate you, dude. And Luke's like, yeah, you're right. So then Kylo Ren tries to decapitate Luke 10 times and he misses every time. And Luke's like, haha, you're bad at fighting. And Kylo Ren's like, And then meanwhile, the Resistance is in the base and they're all like, we gotta go help him. And by everyone, I mean Finn is like, we gotta go help him. And Poe's like, nah, he's letting us get away, even though we don't know if there's another exit. But he's like, wait a minute, I don't hear the Fox dudes anymore. And C-3PO's like, well, maybe there's another exit. And Poe's like, you fucking think? So and they're all going to look for another exit. And then Luke's there, and he's like, hey, Kylo Ren,
Hey.
I fucked up. I'm sorry. And Kylo Ren's like, I'm gonna murder the shit out of you, dude. And Luke's like, you can certainly try. And Kylo Ren like comes over and he like tries to Darth Maul him, and he turns around and Luke's still there, and he's like, wait, that's not how any of this works. So he walks over and he like tries to like just casually stab Luke, and it just like goes through Luke's like torso, but not like violently, like just casually. And and then we realize that Luke's just like force projecting there. And then meanwhile, the Resistance is like, haha, we found an exit, but like it's
Haha.
a giant rock wall that we
Haha.
can't fit through.
That
and
was
then-
the first haha of the entire episode.
And then Rey's like, don't worry, I got it. I'm on the opposite side of the wall. And she just lifts all the rocks
My favorite
by
line in the
hand.
movie.
And then everyone's like, hey, good job. Let's
Hey.
fucking get out of here. And they all get on the Millennium Falcon, and all the stormtroopers start stormtrooping the base. And then
and then Luke's there on Octo, and I see you erasing, Jay. And Luke's there on Octo, and he's like, "Well, it's been a good run, guys," and he just evaporates. And then but before that, he tells Kylo Ren, Kylo Ren's like, "Hey, I'm about to murder all the Jedi and kill the rebellion," and Luke's like, "You're a dirty liar." And then he evaporates.
That was a line so important you had to go back and make sure it was said?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then everyone gets on the Millennium Falcon, and we all take off, and everyone lives happily ever after. And that's the end of the saga. There's nothing after this. This is the last movie.
Luke just leans in, and he's like, "This is a real bold story choice that the director's made, huh, kid? All right, see you later." And then he fades away.
So I have some notes, just like some little notes, just like.
You're right. I forgot about the part where Rey and Poe are like, "Hey, by the way, I'm Poe. Hi, I'm Rey." And then.
Oh, I didn't even include that. See, here's the thing. I wasn't trying to be hard on you because I'm not gonna leave. Like, little things don't matter. It's just it's a lot of big things. It's a lot of very large problems that you have put in the
by the way, Minch.
No, it's too fucking late. It's too fucking late, buddy.
It's too late. It's too late for Minch. All right.
So yes, you skipped the entire Yoda Luke scene. You skipped Poe getting slapped and demoted, which made that entire. But that's not a big deal, I don't think. You did skip. This was. You know what? I'll save that for last. We'll talk about Acto first because this was a thing that happened. I talked about all the things that you fucked up before, but there's many more that you fucked up since. The scene after the Force scene, which actually happens nearly at the end of Acto. You talked about you talked about how Rey and Kylo talk. They have that final confrontation where it's like, here's the thing that actually happened, and Rey goes off to, confront Luke. That didn't happen. What actually happened is the Force vision scene happened, and then they talked inside of the hut, and then Luke, got mad. But the way you described it was incredibly impressive, because the way you described it was Rey just walked up to Luke and asked him a question, and Luke didn't entirely answer it, and she just fucking hit him upside the back of the head and started beating this old man. That's the way you described that scene.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I mean, we established Rey straight up turns BB-8 off to go gamble with his life.
What the fuck?
The book.
No, we're not talking about the fucking book because you're not getting out of this.
I'm trying to divert.
No.
Successfully?
No, I need to. Because here's the thing. You might think it's just because of this movie. It's because it is the most off you have been all rotation. You did a wonderful job with the rest of the 7 movies. This one, so bad. What else here? You skipped the Luke going to the Falcon scene, which isn't a big deal, but I do have to point it out. I have no fucking clue what the rest of this Acto thing is. It's just so bad the way you described it, because it makes no sense the way you describe it, and also puts events in such a weird order that they just fall apart and make characters seem like entirely different characters. The other thing that I wanted to point out, and this will be the last thing I promise, because I could point out more, but I'll point this out. You didn't skip the scene where they go to the bridge and they stun Poe. You mischaracterized it. In fact, you put a different character in the position that did the thing. You said Holdo's randomly free and went to the bridge and then shot Poe.
No, I said Leia.
You did not.
I said Leia.
I will hit the replay right now. So, I was wrong, kind of, ? So here is what happened, as you just listened to, but I will highlight it. So, Ben talked about that scene where Holdo kicks the smoke, and then he left it for a really long time, and then he came back. So I remembered it as him not talking about it and then repeating himself when in fact he cut in the middle of the scene and then came back like 19 minutes later. So, this is to Ben. I am sorry.
I said Leia woke up from her nap and she was like, I'm gonna break onto the bridge, and then she
Oh,
stuck
trust
slow.
me, you did not. Oh, trust me, you did not.
I'm no longer in the. We don't share a plane of existence currently, so I can't tell you what name you said. Either one of you could be right.
What would you like to say for yourself, Ben?
I said Leia. Deadass. I know it.
Dead.
I can't wait to replay that clip like 7 different times.
I said Leia woke up.
No matter-
You didn't, though.
I'm
You didn't,
excited
though.
for this episode to come out because no matter who's right in this scenario, it's going to be great for the episode.
All right.
I love you, Ben, and I love this gimmick. I just had to do that at the end because otherwise you would have never gotten through it. Because I could have kept being like, no, this happened or that happened. No. You did
I
a
took no
wonderful
notes.
job, and it was deeply entertaining. What did you say, Chris?
I took no notes.
I don't normally take notes during the podcast.
I usually have extensive notes.
Are you okay, Ben?
Dude, I'm just like chilling.
This has been Star Wars every week forever. Good night.
Just chillin'.
Just chilling. Straight up vibing. I love you. I really do. And I enjoy these greatly. But holy shit. Did you just pew pew?
Yeah.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another week of Star Wars Every Week Forever. We upload every Wednesday around noon on various platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, and many others. If you have any friends, companions, people you would like to torture with our presence, feel free to send them our way. You know where to find us. If you would like to interact with the show and the various co-hosts, you can find us quite easily on Twitter at SWEWF. We check there very regularly, so it's easy to get a hold of us. And I hope all of you wonderful people have a glorious rest of your day. Until next we meet, may the Force be with you.